Welcome to Flux Fantasy Fest. This event features a special OC sponsor from the Flux Destiny universe. These characters were created to participate in the Flux Fantasy TTRPG, and you can meet them and learn more about them when you join a game of their own. Let's meet the OC who joined in to help make this event happen. Lucas is a 15-year-old student at Wolfgang Academy whose exuberant energy and outgoing nature makes him impossible to ignore. Always eager to try new things, he dives headfirst into all experiences, driving people toward him with his natural charisma. Many consider Lucas to be the life of the party, though his short attention span and relentless humor sometimes gets him into trouble with adults. A notorious prankster, Lucas thrives on sarcasm and playful antics. Yet he also demonstrates genuine empathy when interacting with others who need a gentler approach, showing that beneath his rambunctious exterior lies a thoughtful, considerate side. As a creative karmastry type, Lucas brings the worlds within Flux Destinies to life, using his imagination to craft fantastical landscapes and creatures. His signature style, called layering, allows him to conjure thin plates of solid karmic energy, which he can manipulate for offense, defense, or even mobility, walking on air by placing these layers beneath his feet. He can sharpen them into edges for attacks, reinforce them for protection, or create unstable platforms to throw enemies off balance. While his abilities are naturally powerful, his lack of patience and tendency to refuse familiar techniques make them fragile and prone to breaking. Nevertheless, his inventive use of plates, especially creating and shifting platforms to manipulate the battlefield, reveals a cleverness that makes him a formidable, if unpredictable, karmastry user. If you've had the pleasure of meeting Lucas in the community, let us know in the chat your favorite moment with him. Thanks so much to Litany for sponsoring this event, and to everyone here, if you see Lucas in the wild, be sure to go say hi and introduce your OC. Now, on to the event. Aww. We love us some Lucas around here. Lucas is great. So
yeah.
Especially Ella, the way you write Lucas, and you know, it's great. He's our resident golden retriever. I think we have two golden retrievers because we've got Omid, who's a golden retriever too, right?
Yeah. Our golden retriever guys.
Yes.
I love seeing the OC sponsors. I hope that you guys have been enjoying seeing them.
And thank you to and thank you to you guys who've been getting them, who got these, and I hope you've been having a good time so far. So it's good to see all of you guys here. Nikki, I see you. I don't know if you were during the big event last night. AJ got a shout out from our guest there. So he actually told me afterward, he was like, "Oh, it's so cool that you guys do this stuff." He's like,
"Oh, cool."
We had a conversation with it right after the event ended. He goes, "I've never seen that before." He goes, "That's really cool that you guys are doing that. That you guys are like, you know, featuring other OCs." I was like, you know, he's like, "That is very, very cool." I was like, "I appreciate that." I was like, we really like doing it. So anyways, yeah, so
welcome to Flux Fantasy Fest.
Welcome to Flux Fantasy Fest. So we're going to be we had a great session earlier about character creation, and now we're actually be working with character sheets. So Ellie, you want to set us up?
Yeah, so today, in this event in particular, we are working with our own character sheet from Flux Fantasy, which you can get a free version of, and also the free character guide in the link in the description. We wanted to give that away so that people could go and create as many characters as they wanted. It's recently been updated, actually, with the new character sheets so that you can use those during your game. We took a lot of feedback, and I think we made them really nice. And this is sort going to be doing is using the character sheet to from the top to the bottom to create a character. So if you have your own sheet, you can follow along. This is a great way to, I would bookmark this video if you're ever like, I don't know where to start or how to go through this character sheet or anything like that. This is the way to do it. So RC's going to bring up our character sheet, and I'm just going to kind of walk him through it. We created a character for the core rulebook as an example, and so we're going to be using him today. Not only in this event, but the next event, we're going to be talking about his powers and stuff as well when we talk about powers and payback. So I hope that you come to that one to learn more about our power system and the conflict of our power system there. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Basically, as I talk about the character sheet and the ways that you can use it and how to go through the character creation part of our game. RC is going to be filling out the sheet, all the so yeah, that's oh,
Oh, can you
RC
hear
is
me?
freezing a little bit.
Am I still frozen? Am I good?
I can now.
Okay, I was told yesterday, I don't know if this is true, but there's like major sun flares or something going on that's screwing up people's internet. I don't know if this is true. My dad told me this. I don't know. So it may be the source of our. I don't know if you guys are. Am I frozen again?
No, I can hear you. I froze for a little bit and then
Okay.
you froze and then now I think we're unstuck.
Okay.
Yeah,
Blame
my
this.
internet went down yesterday.
Blame
So
the sun flares. I'm telling you, there's sun flares or something going on because it's like it's been like this for a while. So I'm just gonna blame the sun flares. So
yeah, I'm so sorry, guys. If we freeze, just wait a second. We'll try to repeat ourselves if we notice that we're freezing. We'll try to stop talking. But if we freeze for a long time or something and we're not noticing, just let us know in the chat. I'm so sorry. We're doing our best. We're doing as best as we can, and that's it. The show's got to go
the
on.
show's got to go on. Okay, so I'm gonna switch views
Yeah.
so we can get to the character sheet. And where is this button? Hold on. I have my hold on. Where is the button that does this? Oh, here we go. Okay.
Starts the end countdown.
All right, here we go. All right, there we are. Okay, so we've got the character sheet, and so we've made some changes. These are some of the updates from this character sheet that we've made. Um, we simplified. So what we did was just a quick overview of what's changed. Is that we've made the your karmastry power kit on the front simplified so that it's just what your current set is that you're using.
Mm-hmm.
And then the back is where you will have your full set. So when you go to the back of the character sheet, you'll be able to see this is the back, and you can kind of see that here's your basic, advanced, basic, advanced. So basic tier 1, advanced tier 1, then basic tier 2, and advanced tier 2. That way you can have them all listed, but then on the front you feature the ones that you are currently using on here.
Yeah.
And we simplified, we got rid of some stuff that wasn't necessary to kind of like make this a little more efficient. So this page, I'm really happy with how this works now.
Me too.
It's a lot better. So okay, all right. So
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 we're
lead us.
gonna open up your textbooks to page 175. That's the spot where in the core rulebook the character creation starts. If obviously if you're using just the character creation guide, I think it's like page like 10 or something. But I'm just gonna go through. We're gonna create a character and fill out all of his information. He won't have a portrait. We might find something
Well, I'm gonna just gonna
online,
draw
but
a quick like. Well, let's tell him and then I'll just kind of draw a funny there. How about
yeah,
that?
yeah. So this character is actually one that is featured in the core rulebook. He's our example. We haven't named him yet. I was thinking about the name Luke, actually. I like
Oh,
that
okay.
name.
Let's go with
Um,
Luke.
but yeah, let's go with Luke. So Luke is a bio escape artist who uses volcano based karmastry, which I thought was just really cool. So I was very proud of this character. So we're gonna go through the character creation and say I kind of had an idea of what I wanted my character's powers to be. Say I just knew volcano powers, right? Well, let's go through the character creation guide and see what we can do. Now, we already know, RC and I already know that he's going to be an escape artist, right? But say you didn't know and you wanted to learn more about the different types of karmastry that are used, the first section in the character creation guide is all about the different karma specialties. So there's 4 specialties: escape artist, ink fighter, um, Clockbot, and Special Agent. And it tells you kind of a basic information about them, how they use their karmastry, how their karma pool works, how many med kits and stuff that they can use and things like that. So each of the specialties has their own advantages, but then also kind of their own disadvantages because the only certain types of specialties get fully healed when using med kits and things like that. So there's kind of a pros and cons when you choose each of the things that you choose. And that's kind of the theme of Flux Destiny. So let's say so age do we want to make him like a great escape artist or do we want to make him like a student?
Are you asking me or asking the chat?
Yeah, I'm asking you. I'm asking you.
Oh, um, let's go with a great escape artist. The reason being is that you already have all his advanced powers figured out. So
Yeah, I
he's
agree. Yeah,
he's
yeah.
pretty advanced. So he could be in his 20s, something like that if we wanted to
Yeah.
be. So let's say he's like, I don't know. Let's say he's 25. How's that?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. And
Okay.
let's say he's 5'9", or do we want him taller? You want him taller? What do you want, Ella? What was in your mind?
I think that he's kind of a short,
He's short?
stocky. Yeah.
Oh,
A lot
short
of
and
like
stocky. Okay.
yeah, like cuz I think there's a lot of like ground-based, volcano-based, like he's very like rooted.
Okay, so let's make him like what, 5'4", 5'3", for a guy,
Yeah.
right? For a guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, here, I'll make him even shorter. 5'2". We'll make him super short. Five
Okay.
two. Okay.
No wonder he's explosive.
Right, he's got Napoleon syndrome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so and he is what's his affiliation is what?
So we'll get there in a second.
Okay.
We'll go page by page. So this first page talks about escape artists and it talks about there's a couple of things that we gain from this first page on page 175. So it says escape artist, it says main use of karma, which we already know, unique design, we already know stuff about that, and then we get to the advantage part. So there's a spot on the front of the creation guide that says advantage escape artist can replenish 10 KP when completely depleted in battle. So we're going to put that in the advantage box that's on the front of the page. There are other advantages that you might gain later, but that's your core one as an escape artist. And there are others, like for example, if I were to choose a special agent instead, then I would receive 10% of my current merit balance as a government approved bonus and an extra med kit after each checkpoint. So that's a really good advantage because you get more money. So that's something that I don't get as an escape artist. So then it says karma medkit ability. So this is how much when I use a medkit as an escape artist that I recover my health. So as an escape artist, we recover 25% of our health. That's the lowest because we are not well versed in taking care of ourselves, I guess. Very reckless escape artists. If I was a special agent, I would recover 100% when I use a med kit. So obviously little bit of an advantage and disadvantage there when it comes to medkit. Um, and then it says starting karma pool. So each karmastry ability costs karma. And so escape artists start with 25. So you'd fill up to the 25 mark. And then every time that you use your karma pool, your payback goes up instead. So if I were to go down to the special agents only start with 20. So you see kind of like the pros and cons here starting to form as we fill out the character sheet. So we've got 25 karma, and that's the things that we get from this first page. So look how much we've already filled out just from one page of picking escape artist. So let's go to the next section. And the fun thing about the character creation guide is once you pick something, you don't really need to read the rest. Like I don't need to read about clockbots. I don't need to read about special agents. Like I can if I really want to,
I mean,
but
I mean, obviously you want to immerse yourself, so you want to read it, but you don't have to, like she said. We put a lot of
For
work
the
into it, so
you want to
I
read the
hope you read
lore
it.
section. Read the lore section. I'm talking about specifically like the character creation section.
Okay.
Because they talk about, their advantages and their medkit ability. Like, you don't really need to know that, as you're creating your own character. You just kind of pick the sections that you need. So then we get into the karma study. So that's the 5 different ways that your specialty is broken up. So for escape artist, we have the option of creative karmastry, clockwork karmastry, machine karmastry, biokarmastry, or quantum karmastry. Now, this is kind of where your powers start to come into play. It's like, well, what do I want my character to do? And so you start to think of all the different powers, and then you can go through here and start to figure out what you want. We've decided that our character is a bio type, and so he uses like elemental based palmistry. So he's going to be a biotype. And so from this section, we read all about biochemistry, and it's so cool. And then it has a unique modifier down here. So we get an extra point in one of our talents, depending on which study we check. So because we're in biochemistry, we get an extra +1 to function. So we're going to just put that in the function section for now. And then once we figure out our talents, we're going to add that +1 into function, right? If we had picked a different one, like say, for example, if we had picked quantum karmastry, then we would get a +1 in willpower instead, right? So you see, like each one has kind of its own unique advantages because they're all a little bit different. So when you're reading, you want to read carefully to make sure that you figure out all of your advantages so you can add them all up. And then we could just skip past the ink fighter section, the special agent studies. We can skip past all of those because we've already decided our study. And we can go down to the next thing that we're going to figure out is the affiliation. So we're finally here. So each affiliation, there's kind of different ones. It's like your group, right? Like, what are you doing right now? Are you working? Are you going to school? Are you fighting? Are you on your own, right? Like, who are you with? So the affiliation as an escape artist that we want to be with, because he's a little bit older, so he's probably not going to school still. So we will put him in Gears. We'll put him in the Great Escape Artist Society. Now, when you pick an affiliation, you get a couple of advantages and different things. So when you pick an affiliation, it gives you your defense, and it also gives you a trait and flaw. Now, we can pick more traits and flaws later, but we are assigned a trait and flaw depending on our affiliation. Because it's kind of like, your surroundings dictate who you are becoming, right? Like, that's kind of the whole thing. It kind of gives you some traits and flaws. So, with Gears, we get a +2 in our defense, which is pretty cool. Higher than if you were at Wolfgang, which you only get a +1 if you were at Wolfgang. And then the trait that we get is the traits and flaws actually go on the back side of the character sheet. So we'll flip over to the back real quick and we'll put our new traits and flaws. So the trait that we get is social butterfly. Combos take 5 less karma points,
Oh, hold
which
on,
is
just
pretty.
1 second. Sorry, I have to change this to color. 1 second.
No, it's okay.
Okay, so social butterfly for trait, and what else?
Yeah. For social butterfly, the what it gives us is that combos take 5 less KP. You could just put the name of it too, because then you could come back and look if you want.
Okay.
And then our flaw is elitist, which means that we can't perform combos with special agents or ink fighters. So wah wah, pretty big disadvantage in certain situations. But that's the trade-off that you get for being in Gears. You get extra defense, you get your combos take less karma, but at the cost of being able to do combos with less people, right? So those are kind of the advantages and disadvantages of certain affiliations. So there are other affiliations here. There's quite a few of them that you can pick between. And there's like independent and clockbot union and things like that. So we'll come back to the traits and flaws in a minute after we finish the rest of our character creation. So we will go to the next thing that we do is we determine our talents. And instead of roll, so the way that the talents works is they are used for our basic actions. So things like jumping over a ledge, or a gap, or picking something up that's really heavy, right? So during the game, you would roll a dice and you would add these different talent modifiers to that roll depending on what the GM asks you for. So if I were to tell Luke here and I would say, okay, Luke wants to jump over a gap, I would say, okay, roll for agility. And he would roll a d20 and then he would add his agility modifier. So it's just kind of like a bonus, something that helps you on your journey, like your skills, things that you're really good at. So the ones that we've got here are aura, which is like your charisma, your ability to talk to other people, like your coolness, or I guess your scariness. That could be scary too. Your technique, which is like kind of your knowledge, your understanding of things, your book smarts, things like that. Your stamina, which is like running or lifting things, your ability to perform tasks for a long time. Your function is your ability to like look around and perceive things, but also like your health. Like, is your body functioning? Are you doing okay? Then your willpower is your power ability, your ability to use karmastry, but also like your mind strength, how fortified you are mentally. And then agility is how well you can move around, how well you can go over obstacles and things like that. So those are the different talents that you can have. And so normally I would roll for these, and the way that you do it is you roll a let me see what it is. Roll a uh d4, and then whatever we would kind of pick what is best for his talents, right? Based on kind of like his personality and things like that. I want to just go ahead and use the pre-made talent modifier, so I'll just kind of tell you where I think that they should go. You could do either way, right? You could roll for them or you could pick from the pre-made ones. We're gonna use this pre-made ones for now. So we've got a +1, then 3+2s, then
Okay.
2+3s. So let's think about where to put them. Let's think like you want to do their talents based off of your character's personality, right? Like you don't want to just put them randomly. Like if you put a +1 in aura, then like your character's not very charming,
That's a good,
So
that's a
like
very good
you want
point,
to
right?
pick you want to pick that. You don't want to just be like, oh, slap them wherever. You got to think about where you want them. And also, we also have a +1 in function. So we could bolster like a talent that isn't very good, or we could make a really good one, right? Because we have a +1. So we got to think about that too. How do we want him to be? I think that I think Luke is a hothead. So I think that we should put the +1 the hit the +1 in aura. That's what I think we should do because I think he's kind of like a hothead, you know. I'm getting like short, kind of like Bakugo kind of vibes from Luke here.
Okay.
So then I think that we should put a +2 in function, which will bring us up to +3 because we already have a +1 there. So, he kind of has a good understanding of, by being a biotype, he's got kind of an advantage there, by, you know, getting an extra boost. Then I think we should put a +2 in agility, considering how small he is. I don't know if he can like really run around that awesome, but a +2 is still pretty good. And then those are all, and then we have one more +2. I think we should put it in stamina. Because again, I think physicality is a factor here. Um and then the other two, technique and willpower, will have our final +3s.
So I mean, between his technique, function, and willpower, he's got a pretty good set there.
Yeah.
It matches what we were talking about with him. So
Yeah, I agree. So, yeah, so that's the way that it works. I see a question here from C wondering about like kind of the odds of rolling versus your pre-made talent. It's really up to you. If the pre-made ones are for somebody who might be newer at RPGs and things like that. So you kind of get a boost in your abilities because you know, obviously they're kind of on the higher end. But if you're rolling, we expect that you're probably somebody who's played RPGs before. So you're taking a risk on getting some skills that might be lower. So that's just the idea of it, is that if you're using pre-made ones, you kind of want a little bit of a boost. You know, you want that extra, okay, like I need some help, right? And so I don't, and also it could just be that you don't want to roll for them, just like we did. We were like, yeah, you know, we just want to put them on there. We want to create a character faster, right? Okay, so the next thing is our health and our movement. So these are based on the talents that we just made. So everybody starts off at at 10. So we started off at 10, so and then we add our function, right? So our health is going to be 13, which is pretty good for starting out. I think Hugo's starting health was 11 cuz he was not very functional. So
And he probably
13
was
is
eating
pretty
lots of
good.
Twinkies, so just saying.
No, lots of Twinkies, yeah. So, that is our starting health, and then the other thing we need to figure out is our movement. So our movement is based on our agility. So we start the base movement is 1, and then we add our agility, which I think is also 1. So we'll get 2 for movement. We're not very speedy. Um, we're
What,
kind of a slow moving.
wait, it's. I'm sorry. Say it again. It's based on which one was it again?
Oh, it's based on agility. I thought our agility was 1, so our agility will be 3.
Right.
Um,
So the movement will be 3.
movement will be 3. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So that's our movement. You can see kind of how things, as you go through the book, they kind of stack on top of each other. That's on purpose, right? So you don't want to try to figure out your health before you figure out your talents, because then you'll have to like go back and do math. And it's kind of like we're trying to take as much math away as possible, right? So this is our starting talents. And we've filled out quite a bit of this so far. So we're doing really good. Okay, so now we go to our special items and our starting items. So our we get 2 med kits at the start of the game, which is on the front of the sheet. We get to see how many med kits we've got. So everybody starts with 2 at the start of the game. We start with 20 merits, which is sad that that's how few. We got to work our way up. We need a pay raise, I
Richer
think.
than me. So.
Richer than me. And then we go to the back of the character sheet and we get one, everybody gets one fishbowl, and then we get to decide what kind of Taurus we want. So we can get either 2 small ones or 1 big one. So I'm wondering what kind we should do. I think we should do bracelets
Yeah, let's do.
for
That's actually a really good
Luke.
idea. I like that. So we'll do 2
Yeah.
bracelets.
Yeah, 2 Tauruses. So okay, so you see how quickly we can kind of go through this once we've started to figure out our character. There's a lot of pages in here that I have just kind of skipped over because I'm like, okay, I don't need that section, or I've already filled that out and I can just keep going. So, okay, so now the next section is one of my favorite, the traits and flaws section. So you can pick up to 4 extra traits and flaws. With every trait that you get, though, there's a flaw, which means something that is a disadvantage to you, while traits are something that are advantages to you. I think let's just pick one more for Luke. I don't think he needs all of those traits and flaws right now. So let's look what we got here. Dependable, good looking, handy, determined. He's not calm, so we can't we again also we want to pick talents and traits that align with him. We wouldn't want to pick calm because that doesn't make sense, right? It's not something that he would be. So we want to pick something that makes sense. It's not about the effect, it's about the personality, right? Um Adaptable, observant, resilient. Let's go with resilient. I think that's a good one for him. He's kind of, volcano, lava based, right? He's got all of these kind of earthy, explodable, traits.
Right. Okay.
Okay, and then we've got flaws, and I think we have to pick hot-headed. I mean, that's just a
Oh yeah,
given,
no,
right?
it would be narrative malpractice not to do that. So
It
with
would be a crime. It would be a crime.
hot
So for
headed.
resilient, we gain one destiny rewrite per checkpoint. So that's pretty cool. So that means if we're like about to die, that means we get to roll again, which is awesome. But hot-headed means that we lose your first turn at the start of battle. Oh my gosh. So we completely just we lose our turn completely. So that sucks. That's not gonna be fun. And he's mad about that. He's like, crap. Like I wanted to battle. So okay. And now the best section, the powers section. So these are what our powers are for the character. So we have a section in here called your power theme. This is like the core of what your abilities are. Like if you were to say in one word or a couple of phrases what your abilities are, this is what the theme is, right? So for Luke, his abilities are volcano based, right? So every power branches out from that um main idea. So there's nothing that we would put in his powers that aren't based on that, right? Like if, for example, I was like, "Oh, he can also shoot stars out of his hands." It would be like, "Well, but that's not a part of his theme, right? That wouldn't make sense. That wouldn't fit." And so when I'm making the powers and I'm picking effects and things like that as I level up and things, I would pick traits and effects that center around this power theme. So for example, if I could pick a effect that was like, oh, use water karmastry or use fire karmastry, I would you pick the fire one, right? Because I would not pick an effect that is water based because that doesn't really fit him. Um,
So
so
why don't I put up the table so they can see the table of what was so they can see the powers all together before they can see it?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So I'm gonna put this up on screen. Okay, so this is we have this cool table. I need to. I've been talking about sending this out so you guys can actually have this worksheet to work with. But this is a worksheet. I know it's kind of like our bubbles are kind of part of over the bottom parts, but this.
And we're going to talk about this in the next event too, like in depth. So make sure you come back for that one too, so that you can see all of the, like, we're going to go really into in depth with it.
So let me explain this part right here, just so you can kind of see this. You have to look at it in. So you have you have your basic. So this is your basic table. That's why they're kind of different. So you have your basic columns, tier 1 and tier 2, and then you have your advanced columns, tier 1 and tier 2, right? And so that's your progression in the game from your basic. You progress basic tier 1, basic tier 2, advanced tier 1, advanced tier 2. And I actually wanted to. I wish I could show you Marco and Hugo's, but I could probably show you just the first two, but their powers are revealed during the story, so I don't want to spoil it.
We'll use Luke
So
as an example
we're
for
using
now, I
Luke
think.
for this. Well, that's the reason why I have not shown. What I'm saying is that's the reason why I haven't shown their power tables is because of that reason. So once you have that, then on this side over here, so each of these rows, so right here, this is your attack. The next one is your defense. This is your combo. This is your signature move. And this is your locomotion, right? So they go in
Yeah,
order. So
and
as you progress this way, so you attack, your attack progresses this way and gets more powerful. So by the time you've reached this column here, these are the most powerful. Now listen, this is important. You have access to all your powers during the whole thing. It's just because you've advanced doesn't mean the previous powers goes away, and it doesn't. you don't need to, when you go this powerful, it doesn't mean that you need to use that power every time just because it's the most
In fact,
powerful.
you shouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. Like this right here, this one, when I go to this power right here, this is your ultimate move. When your signature tier 2 is your ultimate move, right? That's the most
Yeah.
powerful move you have. You are not going to do that to like get rid of a little payback blobby or something, right? Like you're not going to go to that. That's
Yeah.
overkill. So you by the time you're done, you have filled out your character's entire power kit, and
And
they
you
have
won't
access to
do
all this.
that. And you won't do that at first, right? So Luke right now is level 1, technically.
Right.
So we would just fill out his tier 1 basic moves. But we understand that as he levels up and as he gets to the next tiers, that this is what we can look forward to having, right? So, and then as he levels up, he starts using other powers, and then we have our whole power set. That's why on the back, you have all 4 of them at the same time, so that you can see the different abilities that you have available to you. And then you can put them into the front part of the sheet when you're using them, right? So that's the idea.
I want you guys to also pay attention to look at the what brought this up was also the theming. Look how the theming goes. Actually, it should say right here volcano. His power theme is volcano, and then that's carried through everything, right? So here his power theme is brought through each of these, right? These are all volcanic terms, and so you can see how it's like as his power grows, his particular power grows in that sense too. Hugo, for example, Hugo and Marco, Hugo's power is baseball themed, so all his powers are like his
Well, it's gravity themed, but it
I mean,
centers.
excuse me, it's gravity themed, but the naming of the powers is based on baseball because there's a lot of gravity puns and stuff I can do with baseball. And so, for example, Hugo's, I think it's his basic tier 2 attack is called heavy hitter, right? And
Mm-hmm.
these are all things, and he uses gravity for that power. In this particular case here, you can see in defense, you can see that Luke's power goes from smoke to ash cloud to ash fall to acid rain, right? You see that progression and the theme that goes with it. The same with the combo name. Look how we go from lava rock to lava spike to liquid lava spot to liquid lava coat. And that's the same with the signature. Now the signature, look how cool this is. We go from earthquake to lava field to pyroclastic flow to eruption, which is his signature ultimate move. And then finally,
Yeah, and I
let me
think it's good to think about that thing, to think about that ahead of time, because my first thought was to name his basic first power eruption, right? But then I started to think about it, and I was like, well, but then there's nowhere to go, and there's nowhere to advance from there, right? So I wanted to make sure that his theming started to evolve, and things like that. So
and you can
let's
have fun.
go.
Let me just add this to it. This is, I think, in my experience, this is the hardest part. The
I
hardest
agree.
part is sitting here. I actually, when I first did Hugo's power set and Marco's power set, Marco is obviously creative karmastry, but he has a theming of a skateboard theming that works. There's a lot of puns that I can use with his particular power and with creativity and artistry. You don't have to do
Yeah,
that.
you
You can be very like direct. You don't have to be clever and cute. You don't have to do that. I wanted to do that, but you can do whatever you want. The
yeah,
hardest
you could
part
be
is
like level 1 lava, level 2 lava, level 3 lava. You know what I mean? It does not have to be something clever. And you can also name them whatever you want. If your thing is uh ice-based karmastry, you could name it phone case attack. Like, who cares? You know, like it's about what the power does. You can name it whatever you want.
That's right.
You know.
As long as the power theme, when we talk about the theme, we're talking specifically the basis of their power. Might be a better,
Yeah.
probably would have been a better word is basis. The basis of their power is volcano. And that is then carried through everything. You can name it, like she
Yeah.
said, whatever you want, but you don't want to say, oh, he's volcano, but he also has ice powers, and oh, he also has electricity powers over here. Like it's all over the board. Like it's meant to keep it specific. So
Exactly.
okay, so
So let's
so now you guys know this. What we would do is on the back side of the sheet. Oh, Ella, I'll let you continue, but I've all this is here instead of me like filling out everything. You're gonna kind of see what's gonna be in there. So
which you again you wouldn't need until you level up anyway, right?
right.
So we would not need all of these. We would just need the one tier. So let's kind of go over the different, and again, we're going to actually go over this power thing in the next event too. So you're going to get this talk a little bit of an overlap with that one too, where we're going to go really into detail and give different examples and things. Um, so let's talk about the different types of attacks and things. So you have let's see, one, two, three, four, five different abilities with your powers. And in fact, there's actually a sixth ability, which is like your practical ability, right? Which is when you're using your karmastry outside of battle, what does it do, right? So Luke's here is volcano theming, right? And the theming dictates what he can do outside of battle, not just in battle. So if I needed to break through a door, I would not be like, oh, he uses ice powers. Like that's not what he does. He uses volcano based powers. So if I wanted to get through a door, the GM would say, okay, you like what kind of karmastry do you want to use to get through that door? And I would say, oh, I'd use lava based. You know, I melt the door handle off with Luke's powers, and the GM would be like, okay, roll for willpower, and that's how it would go, right? I don't need to use. I can use my attacks and stuff too if I want, but the theme of my power set also dictates my basic actions and my talents. Does that make sense? Like it's all the same thing. My character stems from that ability. So you got attack, which is basically like a move in combat. You have your defense, which is how you use your powers to defend yourself. Which it could be an attack too, but a way that you stop an enemy from hitting you and dealing damage to you. Your combo is how you use karmastry else. So that's what a combo is. It's not like you doing like a 1-2 punch. It's your move mixed with somebody else's move. So if I were to if Luke was to do a combo with Hugo, then Hugo would use his gravity to make Luke's lava spikes float in the air, right? So you see how their powers are combining. And then you have your signature move, which is kind of like your ultimate move. You're like cool, like okay, I'm gonna finish you off now. That's kind of like your signature move. And then your locomotion, how you can move around with karmastry. So that is the different ways that you can attack. And then you also have a non-karma attack, which is an attack that you can do without using karmastry. So it's something like bite or punch or kick or something like that. So a way that you can attack without using karmastry. Ink fighters are particularly good at non-karmastry based attacks because they're all about martial arts, and the rest of the specialties are not so much. They're not as good as that. So, and then of course, as you level up, you get more and more advanced tiers on your karma side, which gives you more abilities. Just like we were showing you. So those are the different ways that you can attack. And so what we're going to do now is we are moving into the details.
Ella, I drew him.
Oh, I love him.
He's got hair like he's wearing a bandana, and he's got hair that's kind of like a
I like his
like lava.
erupting hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love him.
Okay,
Cute.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. So we're going to move into our like the actual details of the powers now, and we're going to put in all of the like range and things like that for each of them. So I'm kind of going to read them off to RC. It's really easy. Really, you just need to go to your section, right? So we are a biotype escape artist, so I'm just going to scroll down to that part. First of all, though, we need to pick a non-karma attack. I think that we should go with just a classic punch for this guy. So we're gonna go to our non-karma power section and just put punch. And you can put the damage and range too. Um, so I think that that's something that you know, you'll want to do when you get down there.
I'm gonna make him. Can I give? I'm getting a request to give him giving the bird. Can I do that?
Yeah, I think so. I think that that's okay.
Okay. Okay. Here. There you go.
He's sassy.
This is for
I don't know
you.
how
This
he
is
got
for
into
you,
gears with
Beast
this kind
King.
of attitude.
I was just having him show the bracelet, but then Beast King was like, he should be. I forgot to draw his finger, which I think is true. That's funny. That goes with his attitude.
That's good.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so we're at non-karma power. He's got a punch.
Okay,
Which
we got that.
yeah, so that's it. All right, so now let's go to the rest of his powers. We'll put the names in for the powers later, but we'll just go through them right now. Let me scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. Okay, here we go. Biotype, Masters of Nature. So I'm gonna go to my just the first thing, tier 1, because we're level 1. So attack is I'm just gonna read them in rows, RC. So his attack does 5. It's 5 KP cost, 3 damage, and 1 to 3 range. So that's what his attack does. Okay? Are you ready for his defense?
Yeah. Keep going.
Okay, so defense is 5 KP cost, and then we skip over to effect, and the effect does plus 4 to defense. So if we were to use defense, we would get a plus 4 the next time we were trying to get hit. So it's pretty darn good. Our combo is 7 KP cost, does 4 damage, and has a range of 1 to 2. Our signature costs 10 karma pool points, does 5 damage, and the range is 0 to 3. And then our locomotion is 3 KP cost, and then we would skip down to effect and put a plus 1 in movement. Now, typically what we would do here, now that we've got that done, we would go through and we would put the name of each of the powers, and then we would write a little description of what they do, which you guys saw a little bit of that in the last when we were showing his powers, like the way that his attack is named, and like so his defense would be smoke, and then you saw that I had already written out his description, and it said like, oh, he blinds his enemies with a puff of smoke. That's what I would write in my description. So you kind of want to detail what your power does, because you know what's going to happen is the GM while you're playing the game is going to say, okay, how do you attack? And you're going to be like, you know, I don't know. And so that's the kind of stuff that you're going to want to kind of write down. How do my powers work, right? So I would say, oh, I defend, right? And the GM says, how do you defend? And I say, okay, so Luke is going to use his lava to create all of this black smoke, and it's going to go into the enemy's eyes, and the enemy's going to kind of stumble backwards and like not be able to see me, and their attack that they're coming towards me is going to miss because I've stepped out of the way. So that's how I would explain it, right? Is I would use my description that I've come up with to use it during a game. So when somebody asks me like, okay, well, I say, okay, I run across the room with my locomotion, and they say, how do you do that? I go, okay, so I use my lava and I create all of these different platforms, and then I kind of skate across the ground. Great, perfect. Right, so you see how we can add so much more excitement and flavor to a battle sequence or something like that when we know our powers really well, is that we can add descriptions to whatever we're doing, because we know our powers. And that's the same thing with our power theme, right? That's why understanding the core of what your powers can do is so important, because say for example the GM is like, okay, how do you climb into this window? It's like 2 stories up. How do you climb into it using karmastry? I'm like, okay, well, if I didn't understand my power theme, I would just be like, I don't know, he kind of just like scrambles up the side of the building. But instead, I can be like, okay, I'm going to create a little bit of a lava explosion under me and rocket upwards. So that's so much more exciting than I scrambled up the side of a building, right? But I wouldn't know that unless I really understood the theme of my powers, because it's not just about combat. It's about what your powers can do everywhere, not just combat, right? So, you know, Hugo is not always going to be in battles. He's going to have to sneak around. He's going to have to climb up buildings, and he's going to need to understand how his karmastry works both in and out of battle. And all of that comes from the theme, the core of what you can do. So I hope that makes sense. And I hope that you understand why we went in and updated the book, because we wanted this part to be really clear and to have a good understanding of what you can do. So I hope that helps. And also, this whole next event that we're about to do is all about that. We're going to talk about it again. So I hope that you come back for that. Let me see if there's any last things that we need for our character sheet, because I think that's the end of the character creation section. Yeah, so the last thing is your background. So on the back of the sheet, we would put in any trading cards that we had. We would put in a background about Luke, how he, I don't know, grew up in a Gears headquarters and, went to Wolfgang and all that kind of stuff, how he got into Gears, things like that. We would put any other items that we have. And then as we level up, we would fill out the other sections. But that is how you create a character from start to finish. The other parts of the that you fill out as you go. So again, a character sheet is not meant to just be everything and then you don't use it. A character sheet is meant to be used. It expands, right? When we level up, our karma pool will go up. So it'll go up to 35, right? So it's not meant to just be like, oh, I made my character sheet and then I print it out and I don't do anything else with it. It's meant to change. It's meant to be used. During the course of a journey, he might age and he might, I don't know, he might change affiliations. Maybe he leaves Gears and becomes an independent, right? So all of these things happen during the course of a game. And so our character sheet will evolve with him as well. So that's how you create a character. I hope that it sort of simplifies the process for you and gives you an understanding of what goes where and where you can find it in the core rulebook and the character creation guide. The easiest thing to do is just look for the sections that matter to you, right? Look for the escape artist section and then follow that all the way down. It seems overwhelming because it's got all the information in it, right? So just pare it down to what you need. And then you can go back and read all the extra stuff about what other people can do and things like that. So this is Luke. We're going to talk a little bit about him in our next segment as well in an hour. I hope that you guys enjoyed this and had a good understanding of how to create a character from start to finish. But yeah, if you ever need help, just come back to this video and rewatch it and follow along with what we did, and use the book and the character creator guide. So that's it. That's how you create a character using our system. So pretty easy, I think. We did it in less than an hour.
Yeah, I mean it was pretty easy. Like we said, it's really the time that is the most. I have to tell you, this part is the most fun. If you want to get lost in making something, is the power system itself, the power table, the power kit, excuse me. This is so much fun to do, and it's something that you need to, if I were to give you one big piece of advice with this, is to be patient with it. Now, obviously, if you are creating something for gaming, you need to do it. You're just creating a character, yeah. But if there's a character that's really important to you, that is like your main OC, and it's something you want to spend some, it's okay to spend time on it. It's okay to be like, okay, I'm not ready yet. I'm going to keep trying different things and throw it away. I saw Omid earlier said something that, he wants to revisit his, because he had done his a little differently, and that's totally fine. you know, you can revisit it, you can go back, but you don't have to settle. You can take the table, work on it, try different themes, power bases, and pick a themes. You can play it with all sorts of stuff before you decide. But it is so satisfying to get to this point. This is hard. Like when you finally get to this being done and having the table finished like this, it is so satisfying. I can't explain it. So when Ella
And
had
I think too, when you're going through your journey, sometimes your powers might change. You might think that this is the final version, and then you're like, you know what? I went on this journey where I met this awesome, like wise mentor, and he changed my life. And now instead of eruptions, I like am cooling fire and I'm blue fire, and my abilities changed. And it's okay. That's all right. If you have an idea of what your powers are, and then as you go through your journey, it changes, that's okay. That's why none of this is like written in stone, right? It's meant to be played, and the journey is more important than something, solid. Oh, we just recommend that you make your full power set because it will help you visualize where you're going. All right, like how I'm leveling up. So that's the kind of idea behind it.
All right, everyone. Well, we will see you shortly. Just enough time for me and Ella to eat something and get to our next one. So we will see you at 1 o'clock Central, and we'll get on to our next event. Remember, our big tonight is our big guest is Todd Habercorn. And for those of you guys who are in our Patreon, we have a special Q&A with him right after the main event, just for you guys. So the Patreon folks, it's going to be a lot of fun. So any questions, Q&A that you may have, start thinking about it. Todd's amazing. I'm really excited to bring him here and have you guys spend some time with him. So we're going to have a great discussion this afternoon. So yeah, so be sure to go by the Artist Alley. Go visit all the folks that we've got in there, and go get your original character journal. Go download your character sheets. There's plenty of you to be doing between this, so go do it.
Yeah, look, check out all the links in the descriptions. Just go through them at your own pace, and check it out. And if you liked the character guide, it's free. You can go download it and play with all of the powers and all of the different sets and things that you can do. And you can remake Luke. That's totally fine. You can steal him. You have permission to take
Do not
Luke
steal,
and put him
Ella.
on your...
No, do not steal. Do not steal. No. Do not
Put 'em on
listen
your
to
own
her.
character sheet.
Do not listen to her. Do not steal. Do not steal. All right, guys. So we will see you in an hour. Hope you had fun. Bye.
Bye.